Despite being DC's biggest property, Bruce Wayne, or Batman, has rarely ever appeared in live-action television. There was a serial in the 40s and then Adam West in the 60s, but ever since Adam West's Batman, there hasn't been a single prime-aged Batman who has ever appeared in live-action. I'm guessing it's because Warner Brothers just makes a lot more money from the movies, so they just don't want to put it in TV, because they're just going to make money from the movies, or they want to keep Batman in the movies while maybe the smaller characters are in television shows. However, they still let certain TV shows use Bruce Wayne or Batman, just not in the prime age or the prime of Batman's career. There was David Mazouz on Gotham before he became Batman, and then in 2019, we get not one but two new live-action versions of Bruce Wayne, who are both a lot older than Bruce Wayne typically is, or at least a lot older than Bruce Wayne in the prime of his career. The first one is played by Ian Glenn on Titans, and the second one is played by legendary Batman voice actor Kevin Conroy in Crisis on Infinite Earths, but also more specifically on Batwoman. And that's absolutely insane to me, the fact that in the last 50 years, the only live-action version of Bruce Wayne on television was a younger version, and then in the span of 3 months, we got not one, but two new live-action Bruce Waynes who are both old man Bruce Wayne. So because of how similar these characters are, I wanted to make a video going over or comparing the two versions of old man Bruce Wayne, the Arrowverse and the Titansverse version, to go over which one I think is better based off these 5 categories. The categories are as follows: the actor, the badassery, the character design, the storyline, and finally the comic book accuracy. The show or the version of the character that has the most points by the end of the video will be the winner, and will be the superior version of the live-action old man Bruce Wayne in this video. But obviously, if you have your own opinion, let me know in the comments down below. With that in mind, let's begin with the actor category. So the Arrowverse version of the character is played by Kevin Conroy. Kevin Conroy, like I said earlier, is a legendary Batman voice actor, probably the most beloved Batman actor ever, and this was his live-action debut as the character, and he did a pretty good job. He wasn't really given great material. I think that they did a little bit squander the use of the character. They definitely could have done a lot more, but I think Kevin Conroy did the best that he could possibly do with the material, and just his voice alone, literally every single time we ever heard his voice, when we didn't see his mouth move, it just sounded like Batman, not like...
It's like a wise man once said, battle not with monsters, lest you become a monster.
Kevin Conroy was definitely very well cast in the role. On the other hand, there's the Titansverse version of the character, who's played by Ian Glenn, who's famous for playing Jorah Mormont on Game of Thrones, and when he was cast, it was very weird to me. I never once thought of Bruce Wayne when watching Game of Thrones and seeing Jorah Mormont, not once, and I think the actor honestly looks a lot more like Alfred Pennyworth. I'll get to that more in the comic book accuracy category of this video, but I do think that Ian Glenn, while not exactly as bad as I expected, just didn't really do a great job as Bruce Wayne, because he doesn't really fit the character, and I think that he was kind of very much miscast. On the other hand, Kevin Conroy was perfectly cast as an older Kingdom Come version of Bruce Wayne. Because of that, this point goes to the Arrowverse. Now, obviously, neither of these characters are physically fit enough because of how old they are to be as badass as Batman typically is, but this is not really referring to a physical badassery. It's more focused on like either the detective skills or his mind or just his physical presence, and also a little bit of the physical badassery, but I don't really want to count that as much because the Kevin Conroy version of the character from the Arrowverse, from Crisis on Infinite Earths, it doesn't need to be badass because he's based off a character, the Kingdom Come version of Bruce Wayne, whose body is completely broken, so it doesn't really allow for that element of Batman. But there is also the physical presence, there's also the detective skills, his mind, there are other badass elements to Batman that aren't just the fighting ability or the physical element to that, and I don't think the Bruce Wayne from the Arrowverse really portrayed that very well. Then in the Titansverse, there are actually two things that the Kevin Conroy version of Bruce Wayne didn't have. There is the physical badassery that it just doesn't seem like it would be possible because of how old he is, but it is there in the Titan Season 1 finale and also in Titan Season 2, which are both hallucinations. There are a lot of great fight scenes with this version of Batman, while the Season 1 finale I don't think knew that this Batman is going to be as old as he ended up being. I technically do have to count that, and that was the same character, or at least a hallucination of the character. And then in season 2, the training with Dick Grayson in his mind, again, it wasn't real, but there was a badass element there, and I think that at least attributed to whenever he appears, especially in other hallucinations, he's basically a character who only appears or exclusively appears in hallucinations. But this fabrication from Raven, basically a hallucination, he appears again, he has a badass physical presence. Because of that, I have to give this point to the Titans first. Now, if these were normal Batman, then this category would be the Batsuit. However, neither of these actors have ever worn their Batsuit, and on top of that, the Titans verse version of the Batsuit is not made to look like a Batsuit. It's made to look like a Batsuit in the shadows or from behind. I mean, look at this image. It's incomplete, so I can't really base it off that. Instead, I'm going to base it off of their Bruce Wayne design and what they look like. Usually, in the Arrowverse, Kevin Conroy's version of Bruce Wayne is, like I said, based off the Kingdom Come version, and his design is reminiscent of that. He wears this body brace that definitely looks a little bit interesting and definitely looks a little bit more comic accurate to that version of the character. On the other hand, Titans verse version of Bruce Wayne is a lot less interesting. He really just wears a button-down shirt, which is tucked in to some dress pants or some black pants. It's really what he wears the whole time, and it's not as interesting as the Arrowverse version of Bruce Wayne. So hopefully in the future we get to see maybe the actual Batsuits of these characters, so I could change this category. But for now, the Arrowverse gets this point. Neither of these characters appeared very much, but I think one of them is clearly better with their storylines and the writing of the character. For the Kevin Conroy version, he appeared in one episode of Crisis on Infinite Earths and one episode of Batwoman, which is the same episode, and he wasn't really used well enough. The storyline was of Kate and Kara going to recruit him as a Paragon, but then learning that he isn't actually a Paragon, and then he dies. It was definitely a little bit rushed, definitely a little bit of, I think, a misuse of the character, and his death was so unusual, which it also reminds me of another death in Titans, which was really stupid, which is Donna Troy, how they just fall on electricity, or like electricity falls on them and it kills them. It's a little bit abrupt, a little bit unusual, and his storyline wasn't great. And while the Ian Glenn version of Batman or Bruce Wayne definitely also did not have a very good storyline, as like I said earlier, he basically exclusively appears in hallucinations or in Raven or even Trigon's fabricated realities, and that's basically how he typically appears. He's really only appeared twice in not one of those things, once in A Talk with Dick, and then again helping out the Titans and also just having like dinner with the Titans in the finale of season 2. So I don't really know if I can count the hallucinations, but he definitely had a presence and an effect on the Titan season 2 storyline, which for the most part up until the very end was pretty good, with Dick Grayson becoming Nightwing. And that in mind, I definitely think that because of that, the Ian Glenn version of Bruce Wayne certainly had a better storyline. It wasn't great, but it was better than the Crisis on Infinite Earths version of Bruce Wayne, and Titans gets this point. Now, this category is going to be a little bit different because they are kind of going to be judged on separate criteria, because they are based off different characters. The Crisis on Infinite Earths version of Bruce Wayne is based off the Kingdom Come version of Batman, while the Titans verse version is based off just regular Earth Prime or Earth 1 Batman. With that in mind, they are going to be judged in separate criteria, but which one of them is more accurate to the character they are based off of? Well, first of all, the Crisis on Infinite Earths version of Bruce Wayne is mostly accurate in the voice. Like I said earlier, he definitely sounds like Batman. The design, his age, also he's supposed to be older, like the Kingdom Come version of Batman. His hair color is different, as in Kingdom Come he has white hair, which was previously black hair, while here his hair is brown. But also that is really very significant. The main difference here between this character and the Kingdom Come version of the character is that he's evil, or at least he went over the edge. He kills all the villains he goes up against. He went over his line, and he even killed Superman. So that definitely is very inaccurate, which I don't really 100% mind, because it is a different take on the character, and it isn't exactly the Kingdom Come universe, but that is definitely a huge comic inaccuracy, and certainly the biggest one from that character. In the Titans verse, he's certainly accurate, as he is definitely more in line with Bruce Wayne, as he isn't evil, and he is a regular superhero. He is Batman. He certainly has the respect of the superhero community and also the rest of the Bat family. And when it comes to the Bat family, it is certainly a lot more comic accurate than probably any other Bat family we have ever seen. However, there are certain inaccuracies with the character that is really hard to get past, like the age. He's not supposed to be this old. He's supposed to be based off the regular Bruce Wayne from Earth Prime, who's like typically in his 40s at this point. If Dick Grayson is Nightwing, then he's in his 40s, and this version of Batman is, I think, way too old, but that wouldn't really be that much of a problem if Ian Glenn actually looked like Batman, which I don't think he does. The hair color is not the same. The fact that he's balding, that's never something that a regular prime-age version of Batman has ever done. The voice doesn't really sound like Batman. In fact, sometimes the accent, his British accent, seeps through, and the look and the voice just sounds and looks so much more like Alfred, and that definitely is, in my opinion, very inaccurate. So basically what we have to determine here is which one is a bigger inaccuracy, the Kevin Conroy one who's evil, or this one who just looks nothing like Bruce Wayne. And I do think that changing Bruce Wayne's physical appearance, and it wasn't even that drastic of a change, there are definitely some similarities, is not as inaccurate as changing his whole ideology and making him evil. Again, I didn't really have a problem with that in the Crisis, but for this category, it's pretty clear to me that the Titansverse wins this point and also wins this video. So in the end, I do think that Ian Glenn's Bruce Wayne was better than Kevin Conroy's, which is completely unexpected going into the year with these two announcements. First, I thought Ian Glenn looked nothing like Bruce Wayne, then I thought Kevin Conroy was a very good casting for an older Batman, and now it's kind of flipped because of what we've seen, because of their roles in the shows they appeared on. I do think that the Ian Glenn version was better. The fact that he appeared more, even though it was mostly an hallucination, it still was a part of the character, and it was more interesting. The fact that the Crisis on Infinite Earths version of the character was a little bit underwhelming and certainly disappointing certainly helped Ian Glenn's character in this video, and in the end I do think that the Titansverse did the old man Bruce Wayne slightly better. However, I think that there was so much more potential with the Kingdom Come version of Bruce Wayne played by Kevin Conroy, and I think if he had a single scene with the Brandon Routh Kingdom Come version of Superman, he easily would have won this video and easily would have been a better old man Bruce Wayne. But the fact that we didn't get that means that it seems like the old man Bruce Wayne of the Titansverse will forever be superior, at least in my opinion. So anyway, that is it for this video. I'll put a poll in the top right corner of the video for you to vote on which version of the character you liked more. And also, if you haven't seen my video where I did the same thing but for Deathstroke with Manu Bennett and Azai Morales' version of the character, then you can watch that video in the top right corner of this one. But if you liked the video, make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.